Hello there. I was weeding my garden this morning and I found this little Manitoba maple seedling. And in my garden it's a weed, but it's a perfectly good tree if it was in a different spot. So I'm going to show you how to pot it up so it can be moved to a more suitable location. First thing to think about is that a tree's roots are the only way it can bring up water. And so we want to make sure that we keep as many of the roots intact as we can in this process, and we don't want them to dry out. So it's morning right now, I'm in the shade, and that reduces the chances of it the roots drying out. And so to keep the roots intact, we want to dig out as many of them in one piece as we can. So we got to choose a pot that's a suitable size. I have two ready to go. I'm not totally sure what's the right one. I think probably the smaller one here. I have a little bit of soil already in the bottom so that the roots have something to grow into and they're not just up against the plastic. So to dig it out, you just take your shovel, or this is a trowel because this is a small tree, and I'm just going to basically cut a circle around the tree. And I'm doing that because when I pull it out, I don't want to rip any roots, because it might end up ripping stuff that we can actually keep. In terms of pots, you can use really anything you have. If you want to use a yogurt container or an old food container, that's fine. Just got to cut holes in the bottom. Just use what you have. So I've cut all the way around now, and I'm just going to kind of try to gently lift it out. You may hear some ripping. I can pull some of the loose soil away with my hands. Okay, so yeah, we can see some of the roots there. I'm going to let some of these big clumps just kind of fall off, as they're going to cause more damage. Okay, so I'm going to hold this together. That's not a seed, so we got this. I think if some of this falls off, if it crumbles off easily, that's fine. Don't need to worry about that. So I think this will fit in that smaller pot I have. So I need to put a little bit more soil in the bottom. I have another pot here ready to go it's kind of a mix of topsoil and compost. It's probably a little bit heavier soil than you'd normally want to use in a pot, but it's what I have. And I'm not gonna, don't get too worked up about what's ideal versus what you can do. Don't let what's ideal stop you from trying things. So I'm going to get it into the pot. So it's in the pot, relatively straight up and down. You can see there's lots of holes in there, so I'm going to again use that soil and try to put it in there. And I'm just going to kind of use my fingers to tamp it down a little bit, because after you've dug soil, it kind of is loose and airy, and it'll compress even as you water. And if it compresses too much, you may have exposed roots. So I need a little bit more. And just kind of tamping it down. I've left a bit of space, so the soil's not right to the top. You can see maybe about a centimeter on this pot. Depending on the pot, the size of the pot, you could do a little bit more. And that just gives room for it to water to catch when I water. So then the last step here is to water. And so I just got some water in this container. I'm going to fill it up to the top of the pot and then just let it soak through. Watering does two things. We for sure damage some roots in this process. It's inevitable. And watering right away makes sure that the roots that are left can, bring up water and start to heal themselves. The other reason is water will help the soil that we added move around a bit. And if there's any large air gaps, it'll help the soil settle into that. So I'm just going to do that a second time to make sure the water can get all the way to the bottom. As long as your pot's got holes in the bottom, it's pretty hard to overwater. And so yeah, after you do this, you don't want to have them in the direct sun too much, because they, like I said, we damage the roots a little bit, inevitably. So in partial shade or a bit of sun in the morning would be fine for maybe a week or two, and then those roots should have had a chance to recover. If you think it's going to be in this pot for a while, I always recommend mulching. You can either put some grass clippings or, some wood chips or leaves on the top of the surface just to help keep moisture in the soil and so it doesn't evaporate, and also keep some weeds out of there. And that's pretty much it. So that's all it is. It's pretty easy. Just try it out, and just remember, you want to keep as many roots healthy and happy as you can, and that's the key. And then you can find a better place for these volunteer seedlings to grow, such as a One School, One Farm, eco buffer, or shelter belt. Thanks for watching.